So if you've listened to this podcast and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I am glad that I get to see somebody else needs help to be able to stay focused. They use pain to be able to get into a centered mind and a clear mentality. Realize that you're worth giving yourself a chance. Do whatever you have to do, whether it's the meditation route, whether it's the pain route, whether it's a journaling route to just vent out all your thoughts. Do what you have to do to give yourself that clarity of mindset so you can give yourself a chance and see the success that you were made to have.
I think the biggest challenge in life is when challenges do come, the first thing people want to do is give up or find every reason not to move forward. And when they do that, what they do is they stop and they don't give themselves a chance. And today on our Give Ourselves a Chance podcast, we have my boy Adam here. He's going to go over what he did when adversity hit him. When COVID hit and he started a brand new business, I would put my tail between my leg and ask for a refund. But he didn't. He pushed forward because he gave himself a chance.
Well, Adam, for our listeners here who don't know you, why the hell should they give a crap about what you're about to say?
I don't know. So,
not a good answer.
Okay, now he's being modest. So this is the reason why you should listen to him. Like I said, I went to his gym out in Long Beach a couple weeks ago, and he opened it during COVID. So this guy signed a lease right before COVID hit. In my mind, if I signed a 3 or 5 year lease, a big space,
more than that.
and a business that relies on people coming in, instead of giving up, you found different ways. You change your contract around, remember that for your building?
Yeah.
But you found different ways to keep pushing forward. To me, it'd be like, okay, let me regroup and see if I can break the lease or do something different, not push through it. I think to me, that separates the men from the boys, is that you push through the adversity.
Yeah.
And even though you can't control COVID, and everyone who blames their failure, oh, because of COVID, I failed. Because of COVID, I lost this. Because of COVID, I didn't get to do this. But during COVID, your business elevated. So that's, I think, to me, that whatever is in your mind is what I think entrepreneurs need to hear. You know, because anytime you hear, oh, there's an issue, especially you're opening a new business, to push through.
Go ahead, start us off, dude. What's your favorite thing this week?
My favorite thing this week is, I think, taking time off of trading. Really, my son is going through some stuff at school right now with some bullies. He's a second grader, bullies a fifth grader. I didn't step up at school today, say some things to the parent, not mean things, but kind of address the situation. Yeah. The school doesn't want to address it. I'm like, they want to see.
What'd your wife do? Hold on.
Oh, she didn't know. She didn't know. I'll walk him today. But I just talked to the dad, and I'm like, I ask you a question really quick. Like, is there a reason why your son is bullying my son? Like, what are you talking about? So he was running, and the kid grabbed him by the t-shirt, and he's a fifth grader, and my kid's a second grader, and the guy just denies it. I'm like, I'd rather have you come up with an excuse than deny like it didn't happen. And my son is this small, and the other kid's like this big. Like, why would he just go up and poke a bear?
Yeah.
And the kid denied enough until the dad stared him in the face, and then he, finally fessed up. And it sucks sometimes. Like, you're waiting for the school to do something for you.
Yeah.
But then sometimes in life, you have to step in for your kid.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a controversial person. I don't like controversy. But for my son, something inside of me came out, and I finally saw that. And I remember that, like, how do I get that feeling again?
Yeah.
Where if I feel uncomfortable to just attack the situation instead of letting it build up. Yeah. So I think that was a big thing for me this week was, I fought for my son. How much more should I fight for something else in my own personal life?
So for me, one of my favorite things this week, coincidentally enough, yesterday I had some meetings lined up. One was with a mentor that helped me a lot in business when I first came in. And then the other was with one of my coaches. And coincidentally, it was a really hard week. Like, we've had some consolidation. We've had a lot of different things we've had thrown at us. And sitting with my mentor and just hearing these new ideas that he has on this new business practice, and I was just blown away seeing what he's created. At the very end, he told me one of his hobbies is to collect Napoleon, I forgot his last name. I want to say Dynamite, but it's Hill. Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, right? So he collects antique ones.
Oh, okay.
And so this was one of the older ones that he got, and he signed it for me and wrote me a message. And I was just like, dude, that is so crazy. And a moment where, like, my thoughts are trying to race to the negativity, to the survival instead of the feast, and just trying to go into that famine mindset. Somebody who I know knows me well gives me a book and reminds me, here's the principle and fundamentals of how to just continue success as you reinvent yourself. I was like, damn, dude. So that was definitely my favorite thing so far this week. Adam, anything from you?
Kind of on the topic as well, I've been helping and mentoring a couple of our friends, and they're going through some rough times. And listening to them speak openly about all the experiences they've been having and, what they've been bottling up for the last 10 decade or more. Now they're willing to, come up and show up for themselves, right? And really put in the work to actually make the change. And I was driving on the way to work and I was listening to their, their voice recording. I teared up because I was so happy for them.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I actually text them because we're in a group chat with my wife, right? And then I started texting them. I said, I am so happy right now. I teared up in the very beginning because I felt every single struggle that you guys had to go through. And I cried again at the end because I was so happy that you were able to let it go now.
And like from a third party perspective, be like, dude, I know exactly what that is. And I'm grateful for the lessons I learned on it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like proud of you for being able to learn these lessons now too. Tell us a little bit about these successes you've had, right? Like I want to dive back more into your strategies and going through the turmoils, turning challenges into tasks and opportunities. But tell us, like, what has been like your success so far? Like what have you done? What businesses do you own? If you own multiple, like give us that quick debrief. Is that gym still open? Was it successful?
Yeah,
yeah.
Good. Oh,
So it's popping there.
Just in case anybody.
So it's one we opened in 2021 for 2 years now in a row that we won the best gym in Long Beach.
Damn.
Right.
There's a lot of gyms in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Like, you still be like, it's not like any other gym. This guy gives an F about people. You want to tell him what the gym does and all that? Or you want I'm like, dude.
You're a little hype man over here, dude.
Yeah, because it was me. I'm like, I make you guys all my employees. Like, you put them, you made them owners, dude, in their mind.
So the concept of the gym is to push and kind of give the opportunity for trainers to build their own business. It was a gym concept built for trainers by a trainer, right? Because in a lot of the big box gyms, what they do is a trainer will work for them. They get a salary, right? And a part of it is like every single session that they get a small amount of that, right? So you can actually go into a big box gym paying $100 to $150 per hour, right, for your session at one of these big box gyms, and the trainer gets like $10.
Dang.
So they get their minimum wage plus $10 for that session. So at the end of the year,
crazy.
Yeah. So like
margin.
You see these.
We're in the wrong business.
Dude, I was about to say, you want to go open a gym? We don't look like we could run a gym.
So the trainer themselves, which is doing majority of the work, they're selling, they're working with their clients and all this stuff for this particular gym. And at the end of the year, they make anywhere from 60 to 70. That's on the high side.
Dang.
So like a senior, like kind of like trainer that's probably a manager as well, maybe doing 70K a year, 80K a year. While if you went into business for yourself, right, as a trainer, you are now an entrepreneur. Training is just happens to be the service, the product that you serve, right? If you understand how to do that with half that, what I mean by half that, I mean like if you charge your client anywhere from $50 to $60, simple math, 40 hours a week, you're going to be closer to like 90 something thousand in the very first year
with write-offs.
Yeah, exactly. And then even if you just added and tweaked it just a tad, right, and get it, and you have your service and are pushing it a little bit more, bring it up $10, up to 60, 65, you're easily a six-figure trainer. The gym was actually a passion project between me and my wife.
Really?
Yep.
Dude. Okay, hold on. So how many businesses do you have?
Okay, so there's a digital marketing one.
Okay.
I have a fulfillment center. I have the gym, right, in the gym business. I have a property up here on Tustin Hills.
Okay.
Where we do weddings and parties.
Oh, sweet.
So it's
an event center.
Yes.
Dang.
You still got all your hair, dog? Dang, man, that's a lot.
And then we dabble in different smaller, like I do consulting for some other businesses and so forth like that. And
so 5 businesses.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then advisory boards and stuff like that. But property is we've done several events. The new Migos video was filmed up there. It's really famous for California Love by Tupac. So he
did stuff there?
Yeah, it's that property.
Dang.
Migos is there. You didn't tell me, man.
Yeah, it's a really cool one. Actually, I was gonna tell Min to head up there when it stops raining but it's probably one of the best, to me, by far the best view in all of Orange County. You see Catalina Island and you see LA and you can turn on the other side.
Bro.
So I mean, it's even on a higher point than like Orange Hill, like that restaurant.
That's on top too.
26 acres.
How many years did it take you to build up this 5 business portfolio?
Really, when the businesses, so skill set in this businesses, probably 10, 12 years. Skill set. When the businesses started come was, I think 7 years right now.
Okay.
So your total 17 years in for skill set to
Yeah.
compounding skill set to
Dang.
Yeah.
bringing businesses to fruition.
Because a lot of it was I was practicing. I was when I, and I always believe in that.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that's it's always like with sports, right?
Yeah.
You got to practice because everybody's sitting there, and this is the one thing that I never really cared for is like even my parents say this. Oh, you're lucky. I'm
I
like,
hate that shit, dude.
yeah, right.
I hate that,
They're
man.
like, oh, you got lucky. I'm like, no, not really.
Yeah.
And then I used to actually believe that when I was younger.
Because we didn't finish college, we got lucky.
Yeah, it's like one of those things, right? They go, oh, you got lucky. I'm like, no. If you just kind of look behind like the curtains of
Yeah.
what I did every single day, you know, I worked and I went to school. I did this, I did that. I literally would, you know, be in the office at like 6, 7 a.m. This was before when I was just
Yeah.
fine tuning my skill sets. I'll be there at 6 a.m., right? And be there all the way in the office.
Yeah.
To like midnight to past that. And I haven't even gone home yet. And so I'm sharpening my tools this whole entire time. When the opportunity came up, that's why other people see it, right? Your business partners, you bring value.
Yeah.
You're not jumping into something and asking for something. That you have such a strong skill set that someone's actually seeking you.
Yeah, it's kind of like that component, right? That you've created something so good, it's gravitating other people to you.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'd love to kind of hit on that point too, because you were talking about this before we started recording, how you are very much so a great performer in pressure. Right. And I can relate with that a lot. Like I do super well when I'm under pressure. And I love that you've kind of identified that of yourself through self-awareness. And then you've created like a simulation of pressure so you can then deliver in your best form, right? Because now you've hit success. So you were talking about like, I don't really have the financial pressure anymore.
Yeah.
But now you just like simulate your own pressure. And before we get into what that simulation is, I think it's really good as well to identify like, why do you think a lot of people don't do the hard work right now, right? Because you've created so much through grit, through effort. You've put in the work, you put in the skill set, like you trained yourself, all this stuff. Like, why do you think there's so many people, especially in our generation, where they're kind of like tapping out early?
Some of them don't want it hard enough. And it's actually, you have to go back and what I mean by they don't want it hard enough or they don't want it enough, it's their reason why, right? I was the same way.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. 100%. I didn't become successful because I wanted to become successful. I didn't make money because I wanted to make money. I made money and I became successful because I wanted to provide for my family. My family was my why.
Yeah.
Because we had a single mother,
Yeah.
you know, so it was one of those things where we didn't have, you know, everything when we were growing up. There was
Yeah.
a lot of adversity. There was a lot of struggles and stuff like that. So in my head, I said, okay, what are the biggest points like a person can do for their parent, their mom or anything like that? My sister, she's a female. She's going to get married. Something with her wedding. I want to handle
Yeah.
that. My mom,
That's beautiful.
it's one of the things. Like I want to get her a home. Those things drove me. Not, oh, I want to be a millionaire. It was never one of those things because that dream, it changes. And also, here's the problem. It's really funny because like when I was younger, I used to be like, I want to make 100,000 or I want to make 200. Like now, you sit there and you're like, inflation went up. That doesn't mean anything. And when I was younger, I was like, I want to be a millionaire. Even if you hit that mark, you know, houses in LA, one house is $1 million.
Yeah.
Like
You fly first class, you're like, oh,
damn, I gotta get back to work. That's what I'm saying. So like when I was younger, you know what I mean? So those things change.
Yeah.
So, and they shift. And so that it makes it very difficult if that's your why.
Yeah.
And it's not really satisfying, to be honest with you. Most of us, if you drop your ego and you went back and just kind of looked at the times that you kind of failed or the times that you've been successful, there's a common pattern. There's always something that will stick out. And I started to notice that every single time I started to become successful or numbers were going up and things were doing well, something dropped, right? The ball got dropped somewhere. So I was like, what happened? And when I look at those things, I don't look outwards, I look inwards first. So I go, where did I kind of fail or where did I like lose my connection to it, the impact to it? I started to notice that like anybody else, when you see success, you know, a little complacent, whatever it is, right? I was like, okay, what do I work well with? And every single business that did really well was during times of pressure. Like the gym was during COVID, right? My other businesses was like every single time it was something we were under pressure. I was like, oh, so here's a common theme. I work well under pressure. I don't have time, because here's the thing. Under pressure for me, I don't have time to, I guess the better word is like get in my head.
Yeah. Second guess yourself.
I don't have time to sit there and feel bad for myself, feel sorry for myself. All these freaking list of like excuses. I don't even have time to think of excuses. I just literally go.
Yeah.
Because it's the pressure goes, and it goes back to like the manifesting, right? What do I want? It's either do or don't. That literally is all you have, right? If you're under pressure, you just get pushed, right? So because of that, I just keep on pushing in the task. So how I kind of mimic some of these things is it comes back to what we were talking a little bit earlier about like time blocking. So I'll time block and I only allow myself to work certain times of the day. So originally when I was doing all this stuff, I used to work 7 days a week. Now I work 4 days a week, right? So it's Monday through Thursday. I do a couple of different things here and there on Friday, but very little. It's like a half day. The reason why I give myself just enough time to do those things. So what I do is I gamify that, and I put pressure on myself. Like I have to close this out in this particular time. I have to do this in a certain period of time. It's non-negotiables, right? You sit there and you literally put, if I don't get to it by this time, I don't have any more time to do it, right? And it comes in every aspect that I do.
How the hell did you start enjoying pain so much, right? Because like you're just like, you're thriving in chaos, right? Like you gamify it in a way to put pressure on yourself, and you're like making yourself feel some sense of pain to then just make it fun and like just addicting, and it just keeps pushing you for a goal. That's what it feels like. So if I'm misinterpreting it, let me know, but I feel very similar, so I might be projecting here too.
Well, okay, so really funny. I have a big tattoo on my back says why fight a good addiction, right? So the thing was this. So a lot of my friends, they are really good at meditating, right? They can quiet their mind. They can do all that stuff. Myself, no, it doesn't work, right? But here's what I found is when you put yourself and your body in a kind of like a pain, so it's ice bath, tattoos, any one of those, you don't focus on anything else but that pain. So then my mind actually clears. It's like this other weird way of meditation for
sure.
Me.
That's crazy.
And so I started to like, oh, this actually clears my mind, because the worst thing that usually happens is not the fact that I didn't have my goal. All your excuses comes in, right? And when you put pain in there, you meditate, and then the very first thing you think, clear-headed. The only thing that you think about is your goal.
Yeah.
Because all the other thing is noise.
Yeah.
I think now with the day and age of like, how information, the internet and all that stuff, dude, there's cheat codes everywhere. Everybody's willing to share. Yeah. Everybody's giving it out there, like tidbits and everything like that. The reason why they do that, and the reason why I'm very open to it as well, as I give cheat codes all the time. It's because also a part of me knows that like 80-90% of people will not do it.
Yeah. Great.
I can give you the whole cheat sheet and 10% will do it.
Yeah.
And that's really at the end of the day. When you break it down, it's actually very simple.
Love it. Min, final thought.
I think my question that I have for you is that since you've run so many different diverse businesses, how do you break down and decide I'm going to go into business doing this? Or, hey, this is a good business opportunity?
Okay. I have this and I got this from my mom. She has this thing where so before, when I was younger, I wasn't a huge thing about like studying and all that stuff, right? But I love research. So I got this from my mom, where whenever doesn't matter what it is, she'll do like home improvement for a sink, and then she'll like research every single freaking sink out there, right? And we know like all these different types of random information. So that's the same thing. Whenever I look at and I see something pop up and it's like a business, I will do the research into it. But usually most of my businesses, there has to be something that I have interest or passion in. So like the gym and even like the warehouse, the way I look at it is actually commercial real estate. So I break it down at the gym that even though it's fitness, I'm looking at it as commercial real estate. What can I capitalize on with equipment, people, all that stuff per square foot?
Yeah.
How do I turn that per square foot? And the reason why I got into it, I was even looking at like salons and barbershops and stuff like that too. So it's a very similar concept. It just happens to be in a field that I actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's where it got into that gym. But there's always some kind of common kind of interest that I have when it comes to businesses. So commercial real estate's always been a big one in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I just love it. And that's the reason why, like, I think I didn't notice that until a lot, like later in life. I didn't know that I was so interested in real estate because I always thought real estate was residential home.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, and I was like, I would never want to be like, to me, just me personally, I just didn't want to show homes. I didn't like that. I got my real estate license, and then I was like, this is just not for me.
Yeah.
Right. But over time, I was like, wait. And as I started to do more research, I'm like, wait, real estate is not just a residential home.
It's a different game.
Yeah, you have commercial, which is buildings. You got sky rises. You got even land, right? You can buy pretty much almost anything, right?
Endless.
Yeah, and there's endless parts. And as we were just talking, there's underneath that umbrella there's so many other items too. That's usually why. And then the second part that usually gets me into it is I'm always looking for the market needs.
So if you've listened to this podcast and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I am glad that I get to see somebody else needs help to be able to stay focused. They use pain to be able to get into a centered mind and a clear mentality. Realize that you're worth giving yourself a chance. Do whatever you have to do, whether it's the meditation route, whether it's the pain route, whether it's a journaling route to just vent out all your thoughts. Do what you have to do to give yourself that clarity of mindset so you can give yourself a chance and see the success that you were made to have. Sweet.
Thank you.
Dude, that's it.